This conference will now be recorded.
Now, from now on, whatever the settings that we are going to do, I want everybody to keep these points in your mind. I'll write those points here. 0L is leading ledger. DL is your non-leading ledger. Based on the availability, we may change ledger code for non-leading from DL to any other if DL is not available. But until we go to ledger definition setting, let's assume that DL is our non-leading ledger. This is your group reporting. This is your local reporting. Okay, for this, it will be US dollar and Jan to December. This will be INR, April to March. And this will be IFRS. This will be Indian Companies Act. Let's remember these points in our mind before we define our further settings. Okay, after creating company code, chart of account, document splitting, next we will define the remaining configuration settings. Next thing we are going to define is fiscal year variant. Okay, next one is your fiscal year variant. In fiscal year variant, there are two settings. Setting number one, I'm not giving numberings here, fine. First one is your define fiscal year variant. Second one will be assign fiscal year variant to company code. Okay, first we need to define a fiscal year variant and then we need to assign fiscal year variant to the company code. And when we talk about fiscal year is nothing but your reporting period. Your financial year is nothing but fiscal year in your SAP Fico. Now, if you are operating in India, you must follow your financial year or your reporting period as April to March. Similarly, if you are operating according to IFRS, you have to follow fiscal year or reporting period as Jan to December. If we look at our requirement, we have this requirement to be kept in our mind from all the settings that we are going to define now onwards. According to this requirement, we have two ledgers, leading ledger, non-leading ledger. For leading ledger, we are going to use Jan to December as our reporting period, which means for this Jan to December, you need one fiscal year variant. On the other side, for your non-leading ledger, you are going to have April to March reporting period. For April to March, there is another fiscal year variant. In short, we will have to create two fiscal year variants for our company code. Now, here transaction codes for creating fiscal year variant and assignment of a fiscal year variant. We will be creating fiscal year variant in OB29 and we will be assigning fiscal year variant to the company code in OB37. Now let me log into system. First I'll go to OB29 where fiscal year variant will be created. Here we have two options to create a fiscal year variant. Option number one, you can create a new fiscal year variant of your own. Option number two, SAP will deliver predefined fiscal year variants. We will proceed to use the standard predefined fiscal year variants. But most likely when you are in a real environment, we are not going to create a fiscal year variant. Instead, we will be using the existing fiscal year variants which are predefined in the SAP system. if you talk about fiscal year variant OB29, where you are going to create, according to our requirement, you have Jan to December one fiscal year variant, April to March another fiscal year variant. I'll go to SAP. Here you have two standard fiscal year variants. One is your K4. If you see this K4, this is your calendar year. K4 is calendar year with 12 periods and 4 special periods. Other one is V3. Okay, V3 is your April to March with 12 periods and 4 special periods. In case if somebody is asking you, have you created any new fiscal year variant in your baseline configuration? Your answer will be no, you have not created
Kiran,
any
I'm
fiscal
not
year
getting
variant.
your voice.
Your
Not audible?
Voice is clear.
Okay. Let's say in case if you're attending any interview, if somebody is asking you, have you created any fiscal year variant? Your answer is going to be no, you have not created a fiscal year variant. Instead, you have used SAP standard fiscal year variants. We will be using only two standard fiscal year variants. One is, so April to March, I am going to tell as V3, and Jan to December, I am going to mention it as K4. Okay, the standard fiscal year variant for Jan to December is K4 and standard fiscal year variant for April to March is V3. This is what is your about. This is what we will be doing when you are defining a fiscal year variant in any of the project. Instead of creating a new entry, either you will be assigning directly K4 or V3 depending on the reporting structure, either from Jan to December or from April to March. Now for our company code, we will be assigning the standard fiscal year variant, but I will show you how you have to create a fiscal year variant. Let's go to SAP. Okay, I'll click on new entries. Now first I am going to create a fiscal year variant, which is calendar fiscal year variant. Now for calendar fiscal year variant, I'll put some dummy numbers here because I'm not going to use this. Let's say I'll put Y1 here. I'll put fiscal year variant Jan to December. First thing that you'll have to do is put a 2-digit identification code, which is alphanumeric for your fiscal year variant, followed by the description. Just press enter to make sure the variant that you are going to create is available. Currently, I am getting an error message which is not relevant to this, which is relevant to this. Specify the number of posting periods. From January to December, if you count, you are going to have 12 months. Each month in your general terminology is called as period in your accounting. So you are going to call January, February, March as month. These January, February, March are called as periods in your accounting. Even in your SAP, you are not going to have a term called month. Instead, you are going to use a term called period. I'll say number of normal periods is 12. Number of normal periods is always your from reporting period to reporting period. In short, from January till December, if you count, you are going to get 12 months. 12 months is nothing but 12 periods. Next one is your number of special periods. This number of a special period is exclusively used for year-end adjustments. When you are on the year end, if you want to pass any corrections related to the audit or any other adjustments, you are going to pass those adjustment entries exclusively in the special periods. Maximum you can use 4 special periods, considering each special period representing each quarter. Okay, 4 special periods representing 4 quarters. Just press enter. Now check one entry chosen at the bottom, which means this Y1 is available to be used. Now, first thing that you'll have to do is put a 2-digit alphanumeric code as an identification for your fiscal year. Give a description. After that, you have to decide whether your fiscal year is calendar year or non-calendar year. If your reporting is starting from January to December, which is similar to your calendar starts from January, ends in the month of December. If your fiscal year is similar to calendar year, which means starting and ending in January, we call it as calendar year. When you talk about calendar year, in calendar you are going to call January as first month, February as second month, similarly December as 12th month. In this similar way, you have to design a mapping in SAP so that SAP will understand your calendar month to accounting period mapping. Okay, if your reporting cycle, your calendar are equal, you just need to tick this calendar year. Calendar year represents your reporting is Jan to December. If you put this, just press enter. If I tick this, my fiscal year will become calendar year fiscal year. If I do not tick, my fiscal year will become non-calendar year fiscal year. Now, according to our requirement, it is Jan to December. January to December is always calendar year. Put this calendar year. Next one, you are going to have year dependent. Now, when you talk about year dependent, we need to understand whether we are going to use January to December reporting only for this year or next upcoming years also. If you are going to use January to December in this year, you are going to call it as year dependent. When I say year dependent, this January to December is applicable only for the current year. Next year, I may be changing my reporting starting, reporting ending dates, or reporting starting and reporting ending month. If not, every month, let's say every year, you are going to use same cycle, same structure, January to December. You are not going to call it as year dependent. You will call it as year independent. If this tick is not there, it becomes year independent, valid for all the fiscal years. Okay, in general, majority of the cases we will be using year independent fiscal years, which means your fiscal year is valid for all the years. Current year, next year, future year, every year you are going to use the same fiscal year variant. After giving this, if you look at here, you have given January to December as your fiscal year variant. You have enabled a tick called calendar year. When you put this calendar year, if you select your fiscal year, if you try to inform the system, this is the mapping between calendar and accounting. By clicking on periods, you will get a message stating periods cannot be maintained for calendar dependent financial year variants. Which means system is telling if you are using January to December calendar year, you need not maintain the period mapping because it is straightforward. January is 1, February is 2 and December is 12. Straight away system is going to understand. Enter this and proceed to save it. Enter. This is how you will be creating a calendar year fiscal year. Let's say on the other side you have another fiscal year called non-calendar fiscal year. That one I'll create with Y2. I'll put fiscal year variant April to March. Enter. When I put enter, I am getting the error message, number of posting periods. In April to March also, if you count, you will get 12 posting periods. In short, 12 months is nothing but 12 posting periods. Next one, number of special posting periods is maximum 4, but there is no rule that you need to use 4. You can put only one special period or maximum 4 special periods. Let's go with 4 special periods. Press enter. Now Y2 is created. If I come left, I'll select Y2. This Y2 we are defining as April to March. In this April to March, we need to understand whether this April to March is related to calendar or not related to calendar. When we talk about if it is related to calendar, your calendar begins from January, your calendar ends in the month of December. If your fiscal year is also starting from January, ending with December, you call it as calendar year. If not, this is called as non-calendar year. Now, April to March is not called as a calendar year. April to March is a non-calendar year. If I put a tick, this will become calendar year. If I do not put a tick, this will become non-calendar year. Press enter. Next one is your year dependent checkbox. If we are using April to March only for the current year, next year I may change my reporting from April to March to some other periods. Then I will call it as year dependent fiscal year. But in our case, we are going to use April to March every year. April to March is fixed for all your years for the reporting structure. So I am not going to call it as year dependent. I am not going to tick this. So my fiscal year is non-calendar year and year independent when it comes to your April to March. On the other side, when it comes to Jan to December, it is calendar year and year independent. Any doubt till here?
No.
I'll press enter. Now I am going to save these two fiscal year variants first. Once saved, you'll have to do a period mapping. Period mapping is given only for the non-calendar year fiscal year variants. First one is your calendar year. For calendar year, period mapping is not required. For the non-calendar year, which is your April to March, period mapping is required because the system cannot understand April to March how to count the periods. System only knows how to count calendar. Based on the calendar, you have to design a mapping to count the periods. This is required only for the non-calendar year fiscal years. Select your non-calendar year fiscal year, which is April to March. Double click on periods here. When you do a double click on this periods, you will get a screen here. On this screen, let us click on new entries. When we click on new entries, whatever the fields you are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, as it is, let us take into an Excel sheet. These fields are month, day, period, year shift. I'll put as it is month, day, period, year shift. Okay, the four fields as it is I have taken so that I need not work on the SAP now. I will work on my Excel sheet. Once I am done with my Excel sheet working, I'll copy data from Excel sheet. I will paste data in SAP. So I'm now coming out of SAP screen because these are the four fields which were available on SAP. From here, I am going to split this into two parts, month and day and period and year shift. Month and day, I am going to call it as calendar. Period and year shift, I am going to call it as accounting. In short, in this step, you are going to map your calendar with your accounting. How your calendar is assigned to your calendar or mapped to calendar, we will check. Now, this is your calendar, this is your month. Calendar months are 1 to 12. I am going to put 1, 2 and I will drag this until 12. Okay. Put this in middle. These are your 12 calendar months and you have calendar days here. Calendar month 1 is your January. January contains 31 days. calendar month 2 is your February. Whenever you are defining this here, you are defining in general. When you are defining in general, for the month of February, always include leap year, which is your February leap year contains 29 days. You put 29 days here, right? So you must include leap year and then put number of days in February. It should always be 29, not 28, because this you are maintaining as a configuration. If you are not maintaining as 29 here, on the leap year, system will not identify 29th day. Even if you put 29th day, is not accepted for your posting, because in your configuration you have mentioned February contains only 28 days. But if you put 29 days here, if I put 29 days here, if I go to February month in my calendar, in this year, February does not have 29th day. When there is no 29th day in February calendar, no way I can use 29th day, right? So that is why you should always put number of days in your February including leap year. So there is no problem when you put 29, but when you put 28, there will be a problem. On leap year, if say there is 29th day, but when you try to record any transaction with posting date as 29, system is not going to detect your 29th day because of this setting. Clear? So this will be 29 days in February. Next one, March. Calendar month March is your 31 days. For calendar month April is 30 days. Next calendar month May is 31 days. Calendar month June is 30 days. Calendar July is 31. Calendar August is also 31. Calendar September is 30. Calendar October is 31. Calendar November is 30. Calendar December is 31. Now this is straightforward. This is straightforward your calendar months and calendar days. Nothing to worry about this. This is simple and straightforward. Any doubt on this calendar, what I have written here? Okay. Once your calendar is clear, next one we need to do the assignment of your calendar or mapping of calendar to accounting. Now in your accounting, if you are talking about our fiscal year variant, we are talking about April to March. If you are talking about April to March, in the calendar, go and identify April. Where is April in calendar? Which month? First month is January, second month is February, third month is March, fourth month is April. This is April. April becomes period number 1 for me. Against April, okay, against April, I am going to put my period number as 1. If you have any question why I am putting 1 against 4, you can ask me now. Because my financial year is starting from April. April is 4th month in calendar. Against 4th month in calendar, I am putting my period as 1. Clear? If you understand why we are keeping 1 against 4, you got the logic. From 1, you just do the counting until 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and again the remaining 10, 11, 12. Any question on this 1 to 12 in the period column? Clear? Okay. Next one is your year shift. This is important. So whenever you are talking about this fiscal year variant, one point to be remembered here is fiscal year is single year. Fiscal year is always single year, which means a single number you'll have to put. If I'm talking about April to March, if I'm considering current year, current April to March, my fiscal year, I am going to write April 2023 to March 2024. Is this correct? If I talk about current fiscal year, I am going to write as April 2023 till March 2024. Are we having 1 year or 2 years? We are having 2 years. You have 2023, you are also having 2024, but your fiscal year is a single year. When I say fiscal year is a single year, either I have to put 2023 or I have to put 2022. I cannot put 23-24 together. Only 1 year I need to mention. How you are going to identify your fiscal year? If you are calling your current fiscal year April to March as 2023, there is a different treatment in year shift. If you are going to treat 2024 as your fiscal year, there is a different treatment. But in general, the first year is considered as your fiscal year. April 2023 to March 2024. In this, whatever the year comes first is called as your fiscal year. According to that, in this fiscal year will be 2023, and this fiscal year will be 2023. For this, I am going to call fiscal year as 2023. Am I clear? Any doubt in this you can ask. Alright. Now here what I am going to look at, I am going to look at my calendar year now. I am going to look at my calendar year. Here I am going to write. So when I am going to write, I am going to put calendar year from my period number 1. So here I'll put calendar year. This is only for understanding purpose, whatever I am putting here as calendar year. Okay, period 1 is your April. April is part of which year? 2023. And your May, June until December, this is 2023. Now when it comes to your January, January is not coming from 2023. Instead, January is coming from 2024. Correct? February is also coming from 2024. March is also coming from 2024. Any doubt in this calendar year field? Clear? Okay. Now here your year shift is dependent on your fiscal year. If I am treating my fiscal year as, so I'll put this also green. If I am treating my fiscal year as 2023, in the year shift, whatever the calendar year that you are getting in your fiscal year will be 0, which means my calendar year, my fiscal year is the same. Wherever your calendar year, your fiscal year are same, your year shift will be 0. Here my calendar year is 2023, my fiscal year is also 2023. Year shift is 0. Year shift means change of the fiscal year. Should system change fiscal year or update the fiscal year whenever you are posting a transaction in the month of April? No, because April 2023 and your fiscal year 2023 are same. I'll put 0 until I see year 2023. Okay, the moment you go to the next month, which is your January, January according to you is period 10, but this January is not coming from your fiscal year 2023, but this is coming from the next year, which is your 2024. Here, whenever you put a date of January, you are going to write January 2024. So system cannot take fiscal year as 2024 here. If it takes, your reporting will be wrong. So you want system to take 2024 January for 2023 reporting. For that to happen, you have to convert this calendar year to your fiscal year. Calendar year is talking about 2024. Your fiscal year is talking about 2023. How we are going to convert this 2024 to 2023 is what you'll have to put in the year shift. To convert 24 to 23, I just need to do a -1. I just need to deduct -1. So what system is going to do? It is simply, it will always take your calendar year, okay, and then it will -1. sorry, it will take your calendar year minus 1. If I take a calendar year minus 1, what it has become? 2023. This is what system is going to do. Similarly, when I'm on February month posting, your document transaction will be having year as 2024. System is going to take year from your posting date, and then it will simply do a minus 1 from this fiscal year setting. So any entry you post in February will automatically become 2023. Similarly, in the month of March, whatever the entry you post, March month you are going to put 2024. Against March month, you have year shift as minus 1. It will simply do a minus 1. Whatever you post in the month of March will be updated in fiscal year 2023. Any doubt here? Year shift minus 1, 0 and minus 1. Any doubt?
No.
Sir, sir, here we are using like another year, like a year which is going forward. So instead of a
Correct.
plus one, why we are indicating as minus one?
Because what is your fiscal year here? April to March. You have assumed your fiscal year as 2023.
Okay.
Whatever the transaction you are posting from starting April ending March should be updated in year 2023. But from April onwards, you are going to get in 2023 year until December. The moment you cross December, once you are in January, if I am using first month in my accounting as this month, which is April 2023, can I use this year January as my continuation month?
No.
We
Yes.
cannot use. I must go for the next year January, correct?
Yes.
When I go to next year January, I will not be getting January from current year, which is 2023. It is always from the next year, year plus 1. So if you are using January from the next year, but for your reporting, this January is current year. So you have to shift January, February, March from next year to current year to meet your fiscal year requirement. For that, you are simply converting this, whatever the year you are going to use for Jan, Feb, March, reduce 1 year from it. In short, minus 1. This is only to determine your fiscal year. Otherwise, your dates and everything will be the same. Only the fiscal year mapping will be different.
So, sir, there is no logic behind it that why we are using minus one here.
There is no logic. If you want to, if you are going to use 2024 as your fiscal year, let's say if I put 2024 as my fiscal year, you have two options. Option number one, I can choose 2022 as my fiscal year, sorry, 23 as my fiscal year. This is how it will be used in any environment. For any reason, let's say your client is telling, no, I don't want to use 2023 as my fiscal year. Instead, I want to treat 2024 as my fiscal year variant for April to March cycle. In that case, all these zeros will become plus 1, all this minus 1 will become 0. Now I have given all this mapping considering 2023 is your fiscal year. Let's say your client is telling, no, I don't want 23, I want to use 24. Now wherever you get 24, you put 0 there. Wherever you are getting 23, for us to change 23 to 24, should we add 1 or minus 1?
Add one.
So you need to add 1, so I'll put plus 1. Copy this. This is one way. Only these two possibilities we can use. Clear?
Sir, when client is requiring these things, then at that time, where we will be in which month? What will be our current month at the time?
Repeat your question once again.
So as you said, the client wants to start from January.
Not from
And
January. He will start from April to March only. But one client may tell, I will consider my fiscal year. Now here the first statement says fiscal year is only 1 year. I cannot put 2 years.
yes, sir,
Correct? Now when you write April to March, are you getting April to March from 1 year or from 2 different years?
2 different years.
2 different years. But when you see fiscal year, can I put 2 years in the fiscal year field or only 1 year?
Only 1 year.
Only 1 year. So first I need to decide which year I am going to consider as my fiscal year, either 23 or 24. If I want to treat 23 as my fiscal year, this is how I am going to do the year shifting. Whatever the month that I get in current year, I will be giving year shift as a 0 because my current year and my fiscal year are same. Whatever the month I am going to get in the next month, which is your next year, I am going to shift my year from next year to current year by doing -1. Clearer?
Understood, sir. Understood. Sir, if the client is saying to use from Jan, so here we simply can use the calendar year, na, instead.
If your client is telling he will use Jan to December, this is not required. This is required only for non-calendar year fiscal years. If it is calendar year, calendar month will be one, accounting month also will be one. Calendar month two, accounting also two. Even if you try to do this mapping for calendar year fiscal year, SAP will not allow you to do. It will give a message for calendar year fiscal years, period mapping is not required.
Okay.
Okay.
So in which cases does the client require like this to use the 000 and +1? Like what are the
In any
specific cases?
fiscal year which is not a calendar year, let's say any reporting which is not from Jan to December, you need to define this setting, year shift plus minus. Let's say you may be having fiscal year from April to March. You may also have July to June.
Correct, sir.
So this is your country specific. In each country, there may be a different requirement to submit the reports. According to the country specific requirement, you will have to define a fiscal year variant. While define the fiscal year variant, what you are going to do, your client will tell, we will consider first year as our fiscal year, the next year we will convert into current year. In short, 23 to 24, your client will tell you in most of the cases, first year will be fiscal year, which means 2023 becomes fiscal year. According to this logic, you just put this on your Excel sheet, you will automatically understand. Wherever you are getting 2023, in short current year, you will put year shift as a 0. Wherever you are getting next year, just do a -1. If your client is telling the other way around, he is telling next year I will consider as my fiscal year, put same thing again. Wherever you get your fiscal year 24, put 0. Wherever you are getting other than 24, currently it is backward, so you need to move it forward, do a +1. Okay, people might ask you to explain this in your interview, why you are giving -1, why you are giving +1, why you are giving 0, how system will understand that it has to do a -1. They might ask you to explain with an example. Now is this table clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I am going to show one more example. So I'll shift this a little more, but when you go through this Excel sheet, make sure you move your Excel sheet left and right to see if anything is written there. Okay, because I'm writing everything against this fiscal year thing only. Now I want to put one date of each month. Let's say I will call it as posting date. Now, is posting date mandatory for posting any document in SAP or not?
Mandatory, sir.
Mandatory, sir.
Right? Without posting date, you cannot record any transaction. Now, what I am going to do, I am going to write one date from each of the month. So our fiscal year is starting from April. If I want to write April, let's say I'll put 01/04/2023. I'll put 10/05/2023, 13/06/2023, 18/07/2023. I'll say 20/08/2023, 12/09/2023. I'll say 19/10/2023 and 30/11/2023, 25/12/2023. And when it comes to here January, I'll be writing, let's say, 1st January 2024, 10th February 2024, 31st March 2024. Are these dates valid?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Valid.
Now here what I'm going to do, I am going to highlight month and year. I'm going to highlight month and year. Just look at this one. Now all these things you'll have to understand at the beginning itself thoroughly, so that you don't have to come back to these settings again and again. If you're defining fiscal year variant, it's a 10-minute activity in SAP, but when somebody is asking you to explain the logic behind it, then you are not supposed to be blank. I'll highlight only years here. But you can see this green color, right?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If not, I'll change the color if it is not visible. Now let's say I am posting a document in SAP. Whenever you post a document in SAP, if I show you any one SAP screen, while posting any document, you have a date called posting date, and then you have a field called period. Now this is mandatory, posting date. If I remove value here, you will see this is mandatory. There is a tick box. This is mandatory. Now posting date, I'll put period, I'll put fiscal year. How system is going to read your settings to convert these numbers, we'll try to practically see now. Let's say I am trying to post a document in the month of March. In the month of March, any date you put from 1st March to 31st March, if you look at this column alone, this fourth column, I have given 1st March, but whether I give from 1st March or until 30th March, I am only going to change 1, 2, 3, 4 until 30, 04 2023 remains fixed or it will change? For March, sorry, for April. For April, 4 2023 and 4 2023 remains fixed for all the 30 days in that month. Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So what system is going to do when you are giving this date as your posting date? First, the system will look at the month. Which month is highlighted in red color for April? What is the month in your posting date? April. How you are telling this
April.
is April? Because this is 4. What system will do? It will come to this table in SAP. It will look for the period number 4. Here it is 4. Against 4, whatever the period you have mapped. Against 4, what is the period mapped?
1.
1. Blindly it will put 1. SAP will not see anything. It will only look at this table. Whenever you put date as April month, it will check the month from your date and it will look for this month in your calendar. Month 4 against month 4, whatever the period you have mentioned in your config, blindly that will come here. Clear? Now next about fiscal year. What is the year here in your date?
23. 2023.
2023. And against 4, what is the year shift? What is the year shift? Year
0.
shift. Year shift is 0. Right here, if you see, this is 0. If year shift is 0, whatever the year there on your date will become your fiscal year 2023. Clear? If year shift is 0, date year from your posting date will become your fiscal year. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so here month 5, it will look at calendar month 5. Against calendar month 5, period is 2. Blindly it will put period 2. You cannot change this mapping. If it has period 2, it has to strictly be period 2. Now period 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 blindly derived from this mapping, this month and this period. Any doubt in this? Clear? Next one, fiscal year. Fiscal year is dependent on your year. Wherever you are giving this year, system is going to verify this. Let's say if I take ninth month, in the ninth month, okay, period is given as 6, it has taken period 6, year shift is 0. If year shift is 0, whatever the year you have mentioned in the posting date will become your fiscal year 2023. Same year will be your fiscal year. Clear? Till here it is the
Yes.
same. When you come to January, it will look at this. Period 1, okay, calendar month 1, it will look at period number 10, it will put period number as 10. In the year shift, what did we mention? -1.
-1.
So it is going to look at year from your posting date. From your posting date, year is 2024. From this 2024, it will do a -1. So it will simply do 2024 from your posting date -1. This is what it will do every year. Next year 2025 -1, after that 2026 -1. It will come at 2023, 2023, 2023. Now if you look at fiscal year, you are able to get 12 periods.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now this is how your system is going to determine your posting period and fiscal year. Any question on this? While posting the documents, again I will explain this. Again I'll show you this setting on your SAP. We will understand by giving different dates how system is changing the period automatically. Even if you put wrong period, it will not allow. If I try to put here period number as 11, it will change my 11 to 10. You cannot play with this. You can only play with last month, where you will be adding special periods. Otherwise, strictly no. Clear, right? All right. Now let's go to SAP to complete this configuration. Let me check if this session is still active, and let's go back one level. Okay, I'll click on new entries. Now sometimes what will happen here, based on your system resolution, you may find all the 12 columns in one go, or you may not find all 12 columns in one go. If I see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm able to see 12 columns in one go. And if I count, these are 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sometimes what will happen, you may find only 6, you may find only 8, only 9 records here. So at that time, you have to copy only those many records from your Excel sheet. After copying those records, click page down, paste the remaining ones. Clear? Since I can see all 12 columns here, now in our Excel sheet, did we maintain the same format? Month, day, period, year, shift? Month, day, period, year, shift. So I'll simply copy this data without headings. Control C on my Excel sheet. I'll go to SAP, Control V here. Is data copied properly? Right, just press enter. Now when you press enter, automatically it will give you the remaining columns. You can do page down, page up to switch. You'll go page up and you will proceed to save this. Okay, fiscal year variant Y2 is saved. You've got one of 12 entries, which means 12 periods we have updated. This is how you are going to define your fiscal year variant. But in reality, when you are working for a project, if somebody is asking you, did you create any fiscal year variant? Your answer will be no, you have not created a fiscal year variant. Instead, you have used SAP standard fiscal year variant for your company code. That is what we will be doing even when we are in a real environment. Clear? While practicing, we will be creating fiscal year variant, but when you are in a project, most probably we will be using the existing fiscal year variant, either K4 in case of Jan to December, V3 in case of April to March. Now for our requirement, let us go ahead with standard fiscal year variant assignment. I am not going to add fiscal year variant, but you understood how to create a fiscal year variant?
Yes, sir.
Now OB29 I am not going to add our new ones. I'll straight away go to OB37 to assign the fiscal year variants related to this.
Hello.
Now, yes,
Sir, can I ask one
Sir,
question?
go ahead.
hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Actually, one question, whether I want to know it is practical scenario or it is theoretical. We are taking the month as 15th of the month and the last date is next month 15th. This is the period for every month. Is it practical or impractical scenario?
That is practical. In some countries, you may have weekly fiscal years, day-wise fiscal years.
Okay.
Okay, so for that, you'll be playing with the dates here. If I want to say that January month, I'm going to use only 28 days, I'll put 28 here. So from 1st January till 28th January, system will read that as one period. From 29th January onwards, it will fall under another period.
Okay, that means we are following suppose 15th of the month and the next month 15th, then we have to maintain days as 15 here.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
So that
Hello,
I'll
sir.
show separately as one
Uh,
of your interview requirement or one of your business scenario.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes.
Sir, suppose company work short period, like every financial year, like 8 month or 7 month. So in this case, what I have to do?
If your company is working only for less months in a year,
Yes, sir.
so you will be creating something called shortened fiscal year, but normally that we don't create nowadays. Instead
Okay.
of shortened fiscal year, you will be creating normal fiscal year with 12 periods. Anyway, you're not going to have the data in the remaining months,
Okay.
right? When you have no
Mm.
data in the remaining periods, when you try to pull any report, nothing will come.
Okay, sir.
This normally happens at the beginning of the implementation of a project. Let's say I am implementing the project of SAP this year. I am assuming my reporting is Jan to December, but I am implementing from April onwards. In 2023, in SAP, I am using only 9 months,
Yes.
right? So option number one, I can create an year dependent fiscal year for 2024. This year dependent fiscal year is valid only for 2024. From 2025, I have to use another fiscal year, which we do not normally do it. Instead, what you will do, you will create a fiscal year variant as it is, the way we have created now. But when you run the report for January, February, March, you will get no data because you have not used those periods in SAP of 2024.
Yes.
Correct? So you are not going to create shortened fiscal year. Even if somebody is asking you about shortened fiscal year, tell why we use it, but tell you have not used it in your project, because that is not used currently. We don't use it.
Okay, sir.
All right. So
Sir, I have
here,
one.
yes,
Sir, in month-end activity, for example, January 31st, so the month-end close is not still not close the activity. So you can extend one day or 2 days. So how to the setting in SAP, sir?
normally for every company, month end will be plus 3 days or plus 5 days or plus 7 days.
Okay, sir.
Okay. If I'm talking about plus 3 days, this plus 3 days, let's say month end is equal to plus 3 working or calendar days. Every company will have a logic like this.
Okay, sir.
Okay. If your company is having 3 working days, April month end will be done May 1, May 2, May 3. 3rd May, you have to close April. So until
Okay, sir.
3rd April, sorry, until 3rd May, April period, May period, both will be open.
Okay, sir.
Okay. After 3rd, which means on 3rd May evening, official working hours, you are going to close April period.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Sir, when will we open the May period
May
in the
period will
April?
be opened on May 1st.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So current month is always opened on the first day of the month. Previous month will be closed based on your month end calendar of the respective company. They might have plus 3 days, plus 5 days calendar or working. Accordingly, they will close it. So when we do posting period variant, I am going to explain these points. Now we need to do the assignment of fiscal year variant to our company code. Now in our company code, we have two requirements. In short, you have two ledgers: leading ledger, non-leading ledger. One ledger is used for group reporting. The other ledger is used for local reporting. One point you'll have to remember here is anything that you are assigning directly to your company code will represent leading ledger. Okay, let me put something here. Any variant assigned directly to the company code will represent leading ledger, any variant for non-leading ledger assignments, we have to assign directly in the non-leading ledger. Remember these 2 points. Okay, you'll have to remember these 2 points. If you are assigning anything directly to your company code, you are representing a leading ledger there. Clear? And if you want to assign something to non-leading ledger, you have to directly go and assign in the non-leading ledger only. Now let me try to assign this fiscal year variant to our company code. I'll go to OB37 /n to come out of this OB37. If I go to OB37, I'll go to position. I'll pick company code DEIN. Against this company code, there is a blank fiscal year variant, but this is assigned anywhere. You will find ledger here on this screen. There is no ledger anywhere. It is only talking about company code. Now, if we read our statement, any variant assigned directly to the company code will represent which ledger? Leading ledger.
Leading ledger.
Now, according to our previous statement for leading ledger 0L, this is 0, so I put O. For leading ledger 0L, what is the fiscal year we are trying to create? Jan to December. Now in OB37, I am supposed to assign Jan to December K4, not April to March, because April to March is related to non-leading ledger. Non-leading ledger assignment is directly done at the non-leading ledger. We are yet to create a non-leading ledger, so we are not assigning this as of now. We are only going to assign to the company code. For the company code, we will be assigning leading ledger components. For leading ledger, you are using Jan to December. You have not created any new fiscal year for Jan to December because we will be using SAP standard fiscal year K4. I will come to this screen. I'll put K4. Clear? Clear? Any doubt? Why I put
Clear.
K4 here?
Clear.
Save it. Enter. Now what we did, we have created only one fiscal year assignment setting. The remaining fiscal year assignment for non-leading ledger, which is April to March, is still pending because we have not created non-leading ledger. When we create non-leading ledger, we will be assigning V3 to the non-leading ledger. Till then, this setting will be open or this setting will be pending. Now, this is your fiscal year variant setting. Okay, after fiscal year variant, immediately what you need to do, you need to define posting period variant. In posting period variant, you will have 3 settings. One is define posting period variant. Second one, assign posting period. I'm writing PPV representing posting period variant to company code. Third one, open and close periods. These are the 3 settings from your posting period variant which we will have to do. Now, posting period variant is ledger and company code specific. Based on the number of ledgers, based on the number of company codes, you will have to create number of posting periods. Okay, I'll put posting period variants are created in the combination of ledger and company code. For our scenario, we have how many ledgers? We have two ledgers, one leading ledger, one non-leading ledger. We have only one company code, DEIN. One company code into two ledgers. So how many posting periods we need? One or two? You need two posting period variants. One posting period variant is to control your April to March cycle. The other posting period variant is to control Jan to December cycle. This is mandatory rule to be followed in every company code that you create. You must remember these points. Only based on these points you are going to define the remaining settings. Okay, so here we need to create two posting period variants. Now the same point here, any variant assigned directly to the company code will represent leading ledger. For non-leading ledger assignments, we have to directly assign in the non-leading ledger. Did we create non-leading ledger so far or not?
No, sir, not
We have
yet.
not created non-leading ledger. So I am not going to create non-leading ledger related posting period variant currently. I am not creating it now. I am only going to create leading ledger related posting period variant. Leading ledger posting period variant will always represent company code, because that is what we have written. Any variant assigned directly to the company code will represent leading ledger. Now the T codes for this will be, what is this, OBBO or OBBP creation?
BBO.
OBBO. This will be OBBP. This will be OB52.
52. Yes.
First, let me go to OBBO.
So one question, sir.
OBBO. Yes.
Suppose we have two non-leading ledger and both the ledger are following V3 as a fiscal year variant. So in that case, can we use one posting period variant for both the ledger?
No, you have to create another posting period variant, because you may be posting entries exclusively in one ledger only. That is the reason you are creating another ledger to have some dedicated postings. Okay, this is strictly followed.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now in the posting period variant screen, let me add a new entry. First I'll put DEIN posting period variant, and then I'll put 0L, which represents leading ledger. Now anything that you are creating for leading ledger is assigned to what company code? What is your company code? DEIN. I am going to create posting period variant as DEIN. DEIN posting period variant is used for leading ledger. I am mentioning 0L here. Save it. Okay, after creating this, we need to assign this. For the assignment, this is OBBP. In OBBP, go to position, company code DEIN. We discussed anything assigned directly to the company code represents the leading ledger. For leading ledger, we have created DEIN. You'll have to assign posting period variant DEIN here. Save it. Okay. Last one is your open close periods, which is used in OB52. Go to OB52. In this, there are two options. Option number 1, you give your posting period variant DEIN. Nothing will come because it is displaying only your variant. Option number 2, you want to see how this is created for the other company codes. Similarly, you want to create for your company code. Just go back. Open OB52 once again. This time, instead of giving the posting period variant, click on maintain all. If I put my variant, only my variant parameters will be displayed. But instead, if I click on maintain all, it will show all the posting period variants. Okay, it will display all the variants. Always remember, you will be maintaining posting period variant open close for plus A D K M S. This is what you'll have to remember. Plus ADKMS, plus is mandatory, ADKMS is optional. I'll come here. You can copy anything where there is plus ADKMS. Standard posting period variant is 0001. I'll copy from this plus ADKMS. Select plus ADKMS from any variant that you see on the screen. Click on copy. Copy is always this icon. Copy as. Now you put target values. Whenever you get these kind of empty screens, if I press enter, now you see everything is grayed out. If I put DEIN, this will get opened. Now this is blocked. If I put DEIN here, now this is blocked, this is open. You are able to see the difference on the screen. That is why whenever you are trying to add a new entries where you get an empty page, completely blank page, do not hit enter until you are completely done with your data entry. I'm not going to do it now. I'll go back, cancel yes. I don't want to save. OB52 again. Click on maintain all. Now I'll be copying plus ADKMS. Click on copy. This icon is your copy on every screen. If you want to copy, the same icon will be there. Click copy as. Now here I am not supposed to press enter. I have to be a little careful while completing this setting. If I press enter, I'll be in trouble. I have to do everything manually. It will take a lot of time. I will do selection of multiple records by pressing a Ctrl Y on my keyboard. When I press Ctrl Y, I'll get a big plus icon. I'll do Ctrl Y. You will see this icon. I am going to remove this posting period variants. Select and delete. Next one, I am going to remove all these periods. Whatever is there on the period selection, I am going to remove it. Okay, here I need to put posting period variant, which we have created now for our company code DEIN. So if you feel typing here is a little tricky, you may get confused. Put the data on your Excel sheet, copy paste from Excel sheet to here, DEIN. Okay. Now these are your account types. This is mandatory for us to remember. Plus represent all your account types. A is used for assets, D is used for customer, K is used for vendor, M is used for material, S for GL account, V for contract account. We will not be maintaining contract accounts. We will be maintaining only plus ADKMS. Contract account is used only if FICA module is implemented. There is something called FICA, contract accounts payable and contract account receivable. Only in that scenario you will be using V, otherwise we don't use it. Now I'll close this. Whenever you put account number blank for plus, this can be any account number. For plus, you are not going to maintain the account number range. But for A, D, K, MS, these are individual account types, like each account type K, D, A, MS representing asset, customer, vendor, material, GL account. You need to mention for which GL account, for which customer account, for which vendor account period is opened. For this, you will have to give the from number, to number. If you look at from number, everywhere it is blank. To number, it is Z. Correct? From number is blank everywhere. To number is Z. Now, you need to understand sorting order in SAP is equal to blank numeric special characters and then letters. This is how SAP will sort. Now, if I show you this, maybe in some screens, let's say I'll go to OX03. Okay, this is business area. If you see in the beginning, you will find business area 0001. This is number. Correct? This is number. If I scroll down, after numbers, it is sorting based on the alphabets A, B, and if you see the last one, it will be Z if there is anything. And if you put any business area without the description, without the name, so it is mandatory here. I'll put this. Let's see where this dot is going. I'll go back. OX03 again. Sorry. OX03. Dot has come at the end. The special character has come at the end, but normally you will not be creating with special characters. No number, nothing will be there with special character. Okay, when you talk about alphanumeric, you will be creating alphabet numeric together. Now I'll go up. If I create another, let's say I'll create company. I'll create a blank company. Test. Country is mandatory. I'll put India. Save it. Now I'm able to save a company without any code. It's a blank company. I'll go back. If I look at this blank is taking the first position or number is taking the first position? Which one is on top, blank or numeric? Alphabet.
Blank.
So blank is on the top. So SAP will always start counting from blank, number and then alphabet. So that is why here you are giving from number to number as blank and then all Z, which includes all combination of account numbers. Clear? Why you put blank and account number and Z as to account number is because blank and Z represents all account numbers in any combination. Is this clear? Because people will ask this question in your interview, why do you put blank and all Z's in your posting period variant? This is because to include all kind of account numbers. This is called as masking. What do you call it? You call it as masking. You're not giving any account number, but you want this to be valid for all your account numbers. So this is called as masking activity. Okay, once you give this, make sure you will always open the current period. Which posting period we are currently working on? DEIN. DEIN is used for leading ledger or non-leading ledger.
Leading
Leading
ledgers.
ledger.
DEIN, we are going to use it for leading ledger. For leading ledger, what is our fiscal year? Jan to December, April to March.
Jan to
Jan to
December.
December.
For leading ledger, we are using Jan to December. Make sure strictly you're opening current month. No last month, no next month, no full year open. Make sure you follow this very strictly. Even though you're practicing, please do not open one full year. Nowhere, no company will open that way except in your training environment. Let us not do such mistakes. If you are currently in April month, you have to practice in only April month. Once these are fixed in your mind, then you can practice in any month. But until you get clarity, until you are clear with these points, do not play with the system. First, know the rules, only then play the game. Now, I'll have to strictly put period 4 as open because leading ledger Jan to December, current month April, only April will be opened. According to Jan to December, April is falling under period number 4. If you see here, this is period, not month. So 4, I'll put 4, 4, 4. April, which fiscal year? Current year, which fiscal year?
23.
2023. I'll put 2023. Similarly to 4. Okay, I'll press enter. Now you have 3 sets here. Posting period set number 1, first 4 columns, whatever we filled. Next one, second set, period number 2. Next one, third set. You will be able to see 3 sets here. First set is used for regular 12 periods, which you have mentioned in your post fiscal year variant. While creating fiscal year variant, we have mentioned normal periods as 12. Those normal 12 periods will be opened, closed using period set number 1. And you have mentioned 4 special periods. These 4 special periods will be controlled in set number 2. Whatever you maintain in the set number 2, this will represent your special periods. Set number 3, this is S4HANA exclusive to open close periods for your controlling. You will have secondary cost GL accounts. To post anything exclusively in the CO module, you will be opening third period. Where there is no GL account involved, it's only the cost element involvement, only the cost element hitting your controlling module alone. So as of now, set 2, set 3 is not relevant for us. Set 1, this is how you are going to maintain. Is this clear? Okay, I am going
Could you,
to save this.
could you please explain these set numbers second and third?
Set number 2 is used for special periods. In fiscal year variant, you have mentioned 4 special periods.
Yes.
Right, those are special period variants. If you wanted to allow user to post or not is decided by set number 2. Here you'll put from period 2023, let's say to period 2023. Period number 13 is open now. If I don't put anything, special periods are not open. Set number 3 is exclusively used for secondary cost element posting in controlling module alone. Once we are on the cost element accounting, I will show this. When we post entries to the cost center internal orders, at that level, we will be opening this posting period variance for 3 and then we will check how this is actually working.
Okay, thank
Clear?
you.
Sir, in the real project, shall we keep that much, details only?
Yes, only this much will be there. This
Okay.
period 2, period 3 is used only during the year end.
Got it, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Hello.
I'll come back. Yes.
Can we define maximum special period as 4 or is there any limitation for this?
Maximum 4. You can use no special period. You can use 1, 2, 3 up to 4. You can
That
create
means
only one posting. Go ahead.
that means we cannot create more than 4 special periods.
You cannot, because a special period is representing quarterly adjustments. In your fiscal year, in your financial year, maximum we can have 4 quarters.
Okay.
Okay, each special period represents each quarter. So since you have only 4 quarters, you will be proceeding to create only 4 special periods. Beyond 4, not possible. Beyond 12, not possible. Normal periods.
That means the
That is
special
the,
period only represent the quarters, not the month.
yes, not the month, quarter. You're right.
Okay. Okay.
Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. If any adjustment related to Q1, you will be using period 13, Q2 14, Q3 15, Q4 16.
Okay.
Okay, let me save this.
Could you elaborate the period
Period.
period 3?
Period 3 is used only for the posting in controlling module. Now, you know something called cost element.
Yes, sir.
Now, in cost element, you have two type of cost element: primary cost element, secondary cost element. Primary cost element will post entry only in financial accounting. From financial accounting, it will be automatically reflected or updated in costing or controlling module. Clear?
Yes.
When it comes to secondary cost postings or secondary cost elements are not posted in your financial accounting. Secondary cost element is posted exclusively in the controlling module. If you have any controlling module specific posting which is not updating your financial accounting, you will be using period 3, set 3 there. In short, if
Okay,
you are
sir.
posting entries within secondary cost element, you need to open period number 3.
So I've seen in a video that whatever you said, this is applicable in ECC, but in S4, if we're doing any reposting or settlement we're doing, this will have an impact on FI. I've not tried any scenario, but I've seen a video. Is it right or
I've just mentioned 2 points here. I
okay?
mentioned primary cost element. I've mentioned
Yes,
secondary cost element. Right?
yes,
You're talking about settlement. Correct?
yes, yes.
Settlement you can do using primary cost element. Settlement you can do using secondary cost element. It is your choice how you want to define your settlement rule.
Okay,
If you are using with primary cost element, you have to open posting period 1. When you open
okay.
posting period 1, it is automatically reflected in controlling because your CO posting period is part of FI posting period. But if you are using only secondary cost elements, there is no involvement of primary cost element. That is where you need to open period number 3.
So in
Okay, it
ECC,
depends.
whatever we do in CO module, it will be limited to that CO module. This will not have any impact on FI. But in S4, we are getting another like additional document when we are doing the reposting or settlement. Is it right?
Because in CO, your cost elements are independent. In ECC, you are
Yes.
going to create
Yes.
cost element separately, but in your S4 HANA, your cost elements are part of chart of account. When we defined our chart of account, we created a dedicated account group called secondary cost.
Yes.
So that is why you'll have to open period for CO also in OB52 because these are part of your GL accounts. No more cost element.
You said the period 3 is for year-end activity, like
For
every month.
CO alone, only for CO postings. Exclusive secondary cost element related things you will be using period 3. Otherwise, you will not touch that.
But this settlement one
Normally,
will do in month end, right? So
but when you do a settlement, it is not exclusively secondary cost, it is with primary cost.
Okay.
Okay, you are going to post the original entry with primary cost, not with secondary cost.
Yes.
You are moving from primary cost via secondary cost. Now there is an involvement of both primary and secondary.
Yeah.
That 3 is relevant only if you are using both debit credit. In short, sender and receiver is secondary cost element. That is very, very rare. When you are
Okay.
using production PP and all, that is where you are going to get it. Only the CO documents will get generated without affecting your financials.
Okay, sir. Thank
Anyways,
you.
I will show that practically with some practical examples.
Okay.
Okay, all right then, let me stop this.